Okay, hello everybody. Who is feeling confident? Hands up. Who's feeling confident? Okay, I'm not gonna lie, about 10 years ago when I started Afrocenchix at university, I had a really bad stage fright. This was like my worst nightmare. And then I joined like a debating society and a drama club at my law school just to get over my lack of confidence. But I wish I could have attended something like this and heard from these incredible people. Because when I was in university halls, I was watching Tolu, Don't Jealous Me, on YouTube when I should have been reading my law books. So thanks for that. Yeah. But this isn't about me. This is about our wonderful panel who I'm going to put under a little bit of pressure. Because confidence is all about being able to adapt to a last-minute surprise. So we're going to have a little bit of an elevator pitch where each of the members of the panel, they're going to tell you about themselves, and they're going to give you a little bit of a pitch to tell you what they're up to. So can we have a round of applause for our panel to warm them up? Woo! Okay, Alvin, we're starting with you.
Thank you. How's it all going? You're right, yeah? So my name is Alvin, like the Chipmunks. It's very easy to remember. And they call me the Fresh Prince of Plaistow, which is where I'm from, down the road in East London. I actually run an organization called The Fourth Group. And our mission is to shape tech for all, leaving nobody behind. So we basically campaign against the bad stuff that Google, Apple, Amazon do, but also celebrate the technology they create. So trying to figure out how we can shape this industrial revolution for all, leaving nobody behind. And we're also trying to fight nationalism through trying to build a movement of global democrats. So I can't wait to talk about confidence, how I got my own confidence through absolute failure, but more on that in a bit.
Amazing, amazing. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, guys. Hi. My name is Tolu Ogunmefun. So, white people, did you hear that? Tolu Ogunmefun. I am a comedian, an actor, host. I'm a father. Yeah. I'm a husband. Thank you. And what's the pitch? So my mission, our mission in my company is to share joy and laughter to people's homes. You like that?
Hi everyone, my name is Roxanne Campbell and I am a celebrity manicurist. I have worked at the Olympics doing nails for the athletes and gold medalists. I also work backstage at Fashion Week in London, New York and Paris, and I also launched my own nail polish in 2016. And my goal is to franchise and have nail salons all around the UK and to have my products sold abroad.
So I was super happy that I was the last one, but because everybody is so sick, I'm actually now a bit frightened. But hello everyone, my name is Darren Shankaran. I'm the founder of a company called Trim It. Trim It's the UK's first app-powered mobile barbershop. So what that means is that through our app, we're able to book a barbershop on wheels straight to your location. So we raised 315K last year, and we're currently just trying to grow and take over this world, and just maybe ensure that I can see there's a lot of guys here anyway, so we've been to the barbershop on a Friday or on a Saturday and had to wait hours, and I don't feel like that's fair, so that's my goal. So there you go.
Okay, so whilst we're waiting for another mic to appear, this one will be Roman. Oh, you've got one. Okay, wonderful. Is it on?
Yeah.
Fab. Okay, so the first question is about confidence, shock horror. So what gives you confidence in the quality of the work that you do? So you're putting things out there for the whole world to judge. What helps you to be confident in the quality and integrity of your work? And let's kick it off with Darren.
So what gives me confidence? So I'll give you a bit of context about how I've got to the place that I am. But I've actually had to deal with rejection left, right, and center. So when I was raising investment, there was several times where investors would tell me that my idea wasn't very good, or basically people would waste my time. And this is going to sound a bit weird, but I've got myself so numb to the no's that now I'm forced to be confident. I can only believe in myself. And as a result, that's why I suppose it might be perceived that I'm quite confident. But what it is in reality is just that the no's and the hurt doesn't really faze me as much, and I'm more resilient than I am confident. So that's me. Yeah.
Thanks, Darren.
Am I next?
Yeah, Roxanne, you've got the mic.
I'll just say for me, it's experience. I've been doing nails for over 14 years. So I've always had confidence in what I do, but that's taken years to get there. Another thing is having a product and a service that's unique that nobody else has. So that also gives me a lot of confidence, but it's just taken years to get there. But also having a positive mindset, that helps a lot. And having belief in yourself also.
Thanks, Roxanne.
I would say you just have to believe in your own source, if that makes any sense. Like, really and truly, you have to believe in your own ability. I remember, like, when I first started, like, making videos, and I did it for the love of comedy. Do you know what I mean? I love people lolling at the videos and whatnot. But I feel like as time went by, it was just more me working on my craft. And the more I worked on my craft, like you said, experience, it helps you and enables you to be better, have faith in your work, and have the confidence to bring out the best quality.
So I've got a question for all of you. Who's scared of failing? Put your hands up. And like, when you're really thinking about it, though, like, I want to ask you, why are you afraid of failing? Because if you really think about it, nobody's ever actually succeeded without failing. Because in order to succeed, you need to try. And the likelihood of you changing the world, creating a multi-million-dollar business, getting on the Forbes magazine, all those dreams that you have, the likelihood of you trying and getting it first go is 0. And that's the kind of thing about failing. I kind of like failing, because failing gives me the confidence that I can do in anything. Because as soon as you fail, you might think, it's been a long day, I completely flopped that speech, I failed that pitch, I didn't have the right meeting, the right people. But in the end, you wake up the next day and think, actually, I'm still alive, I can still make movements, I can still do things. So I think actually failure is key to confidence, because actually once you fail, you realize you can go again. So yeah, that's a bit of thoughts. I think one thing was like when Mike Tyson said, because I used to want to be a boxer, and he said, it's all amazing having a plan. So you're going to have 5-year plans, 10-year plans, a plan to fight. Well, Anthony Joshua had a plan to beat Andy Ruiz, but obviously he failed. And that's the point, right? Like, you have a plan, but as soon as you get punched in the face, Tyson was like, where's the plan there? But the whole point that he trained to be able to address those things when rubbish and bad things happen. So don't be scared of failing. Like, realize that you're failing because you're trying, and maybe one day you can actually succeed.
I've got one. Okay, guys, I know we're all wearing suits and everything, but we're going to loosen it up a bit. We don't need to clap after every bit. I just thought, let's let Alvin have his clap so he doesn't feel left out. Actually, one thing we are going to clap for, Alvin was actually on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. That we can clap for. Heard a little drop earlier, you know, we can't all get to Forbes, but some of us have. Kike did too, yeah. Kike, the organizer of this conference, was also on the Forbes 30 under 30 list. But let's go back a bit. Not all of us will make the list, right? Not all of us will hit every target we want to hit, and we've heard quite a lot of talk about failure here. So we're going to come back to that and talk about what you guys do to pick yourself back up and to build your confidence again when there are haters, or when you get a legitimate rejection, or when you get a rejection that you didn't feel was quite fair. Let's talk a little bit about that. Do you guys want to hear about the negatives and how we overcome them? Because that's when you need to feel confident, right? When you're doing a great job, when you know that your work is amazing, it's quite easy to feel confident. But when you've been knocked down, it's hard to get yourself back up. So before we all respond to that, Tolu, I want to ask a question. Do you read the comments on YouTube?
When I first started out, no. But then when social media started getting so much in your face, I did start to look at comments and stuff, so yeah.
Okay, and how do the positive comments, how do the negative comments impact on your confidence?
Well, let's be honest, everyone loves positive comments at the end of the day. If someone says your hair looks nice, you two, you be doing this. Do you know what I mean? So everyone loves positive comments. Like, for me personally, I just feel like, especially within the industry I'm in, if it's not constructive criticism, then it shouldn't affect you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's easier said than done. We're all human beings at the end of the day. So if someone says something negative to you, it can hurt, but you have to really sit down and reflect and think, what's the context behind this? What does this really mean to me? How does this actually affect me? Do you know what I mean? So I feel like if it's constructive, then you can take it in and be better at the end of the day. With what we do with the industry, there's always going to be criticism at the end of the day, so you just have to roll with it.
It's true, thanks. Okay, so we're going to start with Darren, and I want everyone else to be preparing a story in your mind. I want to hear about a time where you were really knocked back, your confidence was in shreds, and I want to hear, I think everyone wants to hear about how you picked yourself up from that. Darren, can you tell us one such story from your fundraising journey? Because that's in fact, we need to have another round of applause. I know I said less clapping, but Darren, how much money did you raise from angel investors and backstage capital? Can we hear?
Yeah, so altogether it was 315. So
315,000. And Darren now leads a team of, is it 9 people?
It's 12 now.
12. 12. How old are you, Darren?
I'm 25.
Darren is 25. He leads a team of 12 people. He's based out in Brixton. If you haven't got the Trim It app already, what are you guys waiting for? Download it, App Store, Play Store, all of those places. So Darren, what was it like when I remember fundraising for Afrocenchix, and people would knock your confidence.
Yeah, it's not fun.
How did you bounce back?
It's not fun, and I'm glad you told me to tell a story, because I actually communicate in stories. So I can give you an example of like one investor that we went to. So I went all the way to Birmingham to meet an investor. And I was gearing myself up on the train journey. I was listening to gospel music. I was just trying to get myself gassed, you know. And then I went to him, and the first thing he said to me, so I introduced myself and the business, and the first thing he said to me was, "Darren, your idea is shit." Those words. And for whatever reason, and I think this is what I was saying before, like, because I'm numb to the nose, I actually felt a bit of ease. Because at that point, like, for me, there was nothing that I needed to prove. He thought my idea was, as he said, shit. And at that point, it's like, you're an investor, you've done well with your life, you've been successful, so let me try and learn from you. So I try my best to take L's and make it a W. So we ended up speaking for about 5 hours. Spoke to him a little bit more about the business, but we just started to vibe as people. We're two very, very different people. This guy's from Birmingham, lived an okay lifestyle. I'm from Ends, I'm from like Council Estate Brixton. But there was some similarities there. But to cut a long story short, by the end of the conversation, and I gifted him with a little hairbrush. I was like, "Thank you for your time." And I was on a train, and I get an email, and it was just like, "Do you want 25K, wink face?" And it was the investor. And the reason why he invested in me wasn't because he thought the idea was good. Clearly he didn't, because he said my idea was shit. But he invested in me because we just got along, and there was love there, if that makes sense. So that's the time of when I was hit with not necessarily an unfair no, but I was hit with a no that kind of took me by surprise, because the first thing he said, but by the end of it, he still invested. So, yeah.
The claps are back.
For me, my experience is a bit different. I've had more, like whenever I go on jobs for Fashion Week, for example, with the name Roxanne Campbell, they never expect me to be black. So that's the problem that I get more. And I get more jealous people. And then I get more negative questions. So like I'll meet someone and they'll say, "Whose nail brand is this?" And I'll say, "It's mine." And they're like, "No, whose is it?" And I'll say, "No, I own my own nail brand." So don't expect me to have my own nail brand. And then I've had questions like, "Oh, do you make your nail polishes for black people?" Or...
We have different nails, apparently.
Yeah, I just get loads of weird questions. But with experience, I've learned how to respond to these people and how to deal with them. And I used to always get caught off guard, but now I'm not. So every time I'm backstage for Fashion Week, I'm always just ready, because you never know what anyone's going to say. But in terms of jealous people, people that don't believe in me, and what I do to bounce... Well, for one, they motivate me a lot. They really do. They push me. Some people, it puts them off. It makes them think that they're right. I know that I'm doing something right, so I just keep going. And how I bounce back is by succeeding and just doing everything that they didn't want me to do.
Nice. Tolu?
Okay. Okay.
We want a
Story. I remember when I auditioned for one of the roles in Black Panther. Wakanda forever. And I obviously didn't get the role because you guys didn't see me in the film. That is why I'm here. And I remember being so deflated. Do you know what I mean? Like when I knew it was coming and whatnot, I hit up my age and I was like, listen, I gotta be in this. I have a good Niger accent I can put on. People know me, people like me. I think this can work and whatnot. And I did the audition and whatnot. I thought I did a great job. Didn't work out and I was so deflated. And I remember sitting back and just thinking like I thought this was it. And I am a very spiritual person at the end of the day, if I'm being honest with you guys. So I had to sit back and I spoke to God. And I just feel like if you have a connection with something, I'm not here to preach, but if you have a connection with something, hold on to it because it will definitely help you and move you forward. And like you said, I use it as a motivator because from that, I continued doing more auditions and whatnot. And then I got a role with Idris Elba in a film called Yardie. So it's a little role, but it was still like, for me, it was like, okay, well, I didn't get that, I can get this. And like you said, you're not dead at the end of the day, keep on going. So that was my way, yeah.
It's incredible.
So my mum and dad from Philippines, so my mum come here when she was like 19 to work as a chambermaid, and my dad was a waiter. My dad passed away when I was very young, so I grew up like single-parent family, standard kind of story, immigrants trying to look for a better life. But for me, it was like, that was like the top, because that's what I saw in the household. Like I didn't see much else. But then I went to a good school where after my father passed away, because my mum was adamant that education was the answer. And in a way, that education then introduced me to all these kids from different kinds of backgrounds. Like Tony Blair's sons went there, and there was sons of ambassadors and all that kind of stuff. And I think part of it is like not being restricted by your own surroundings, but also staying grounded and remembering who you are and where you've come from. But in terms of a story, I remember my last job before, so 2 years ago, at Carnival was like my last day of my job. So I've been running my company now for 2 years. And I remember that job, my old boss said I was a crap writer. Like, I couldn't write for anything. Like, I was doing public affairs, trying to influence politicians to address poverty and criminal justice issues. And he just said, you can't write. Like, I don't like your style, I don't like your voice, I don't get what you're trying to say. And then fast forward today, I'm literally after this going to finish a book proposal off with an agent who believed in me. And like, last time I saw him, he said, you've got great writing. And how I switched it over was just thinking, this guy's, like, I'm not going to listen to this one person who's trying to bring me down. And in a way, you've got to believe yourself, but then you've got to really work hard. So I think one of the things is surrounding yourself with people who actually believe in you, who won't lie to you, but will say, here's how you can improve. And then also having the belief that no matter what one person says to you, that's not going to define your destiny. And actually, you can define it yourself. So if you're ever wanting to write a book, just keep writing. And keep on trying, whatever it is. I mean, I wanted to be, as I said, I wanted to be a rapper, and I was rubbish. Because I remember, like, in a house party in Upton Park, trying to, like, freestyle. Oh, my gosh. Like, Tracy, I got cussed so hard, like, in front of all the girls as well. And that hurt. But learning how to, like, write lyrics, remembering the lyrics, learning how to perform, that then I used the skill set to then speak in front of the House of Lords and Davos and now, like, and so remember the kind of skills that you have and maybe how it might be transferable, and be creative about it. Like, you can sometimes turn a weakness into a strength.
You can keep that mic. That was really deep. Thanks, Alvin. So we're hearing about bouncing back. We've been hearing about resilience. We're hearing, about persevering when you don't get what you want. We're hearing about how to be, confident in a room when people expect a white woman and they see you. And I can relate to a lot of what you guys have said. So the pitch that was mentioned earlier, I actually flopped it in front of an audience of about maybe, I don't know, there were several thousands. I stopped looking at the zeros because it was making me feel nervous. And I went back to old Rachael, who's scared to stand up in front of 5 people. My voice was quivering. I was like, my husband was trying to get me to rewatch the pitch. He was like, oh, it was really good. I still haven't watched it because I'm like, cringe. All those people saw me flop on a stage. But then I still, after flopping a pitch, a 60-second pitch, I was like 9 months and ready to pop when I did this pitch. So I gave birth 2 days afterwards, and I bounced back by getting into my confidence mindset in that moment. I didn't have time to bounce back because I had to flop my pitch, walk over to the celebrity judges, and then do Q&A, and that lasted for a while. So for me, having a confidence mindset was really important in that moment. And can anyone else relate to that? Has anyone else had a moment where they've flopped and then they haven't been able to go lick their wounds at home? They've had to just keep it going. Not, take some time, call a friend, bounce back, but say your prayers in your head in that moment, because then you're going straight into the next thing. Hands up if you can relate to that. Yeah, a lot of us have been there. And if you haven't been there yet, you will be there, right? You guys are here because you care about your careers, you're career-minded people. You guys are gonna be, the upper levels either in the jobs you're in at the moment or in the companies you're going to create for yourself. So we all in this room need to have a confident mindset. So what helps you guys? What are your little tips and tricks for in the moment if you're not feeling super confident, either because you've just flopped or something's happening in your personal life, and you just have to shake it up and stand in front of people? What do you do?
I believe in affirmations, so I'm a weirdo sometimes. Guys don't actually I go to a place called Bishop's Avenue. I don't know if anyone knows Bishop's Avenue. Yeah, anyone know Bishop? Yeah, I go there sometimes. I sit down there and I just look. Do you know what I mean? And it's just about just envisioning what you want for yourself, whether it be environment, whether it be family, whatever it is. So I just believe affirmations are very, very, very important, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you forward. If you're going to sit down there and beat yourself down all day and be like, oh, this is not working, that's not going to work, whatever you're saying is what it's going to be at the end of the day. So if you're just wasting time, in my opinion. Do you know what I mean? You're wasting time. So you need to switch that up and make sure words are powerful. We all know this. Words are very, very powerful. So you need to speak positive to yourself, and that's what always pushes me forward.
Thanks, Tolu.
What I do is I write everything down that I want to achieve, and then once I've done it, I cross it off. So basically, every single thing that I've ever done in my whole career, I've written it down, and it's all happened. So that's my motivation. I know that every time I write something down, it's going to happen 100%. So that pushes me. There was 1 year where I didn't write anything down. I just left it for a whole year. And for that year, nothing really happened, basically. Then as soon as I could keep writing things down, things always happen. So that's what I do. And then I just stay positive. And sometimes if I'm in a position where I'm stressed out, let's say, for example, Fashion Week, there's 40 models, 10 of them need stick-on nails, and I've only got 20 left. What do? I go into the toilet and I talk to myself, and I say, you can do this, and then just make it work. So basically, I talk to myself. It sounds crazy, but that's what I do, and it helps.
Works.
If there's no one around, then that's what you've got to do. Yeah. So that's what I do.
Thanks, Roxanne.
Yeah, sure. So for me, prayer is definitely one that's very key for me. I pray, and hopefully, a lot of the time, the confidence just comes into me. But then on top of that as well, when I'm not feeling confident, I'm quite good at acting as well. So you can, if I'm not feeling confident, at least the perception I'm giving off is that I'm confident and I'm in the zone. And that sometimes also allows me to hit my targets. So yeah.
Yeah, fake it till you make it is cliche, but it's true.
So for me, a lot of what you just said applies not only in work, but also in relationships. The person you're married to, the person you're dating, your family, your friends. And what I find it so interesting is that when you said you wrote it down and it came true, it sounds so simple, but in a way it is, because once you put it down onto paper, imagination and idea becomes it becomes something, it becomes real, and you see it on paper and you can imagine what it is. So in a way, the first thing is like figuring out what is your capacity or boundaries of imagination. Like, are you imagining yourself to be the football coach in Croydon, or you're managing yourself, wanting to be like a top football manager in Champions League? Or, I mean, obviously that's a simple example, but kind of like think about what your highest limits are, and in a way that helps. But just in terms of like how I deal with it, when problems happen, sometimes I cry and just like get bare sad, not really. But no, I think time is a good healer. So for example, I must have tweeted about a time when Paul Gascoigne was in the Ace Hotel and he was being racist to my friends. Like, Gazza was a madman, like, trust me. So for the people who don't know, Paul Gascoigne is a obviously legendary football player. A lot of us love him for the stuff he did for England, but also now he was just like being racist to my friends. So I tweeted it out. Next thing you know, I just received so much hatred online. And like people were just saying, ignore it. And it's so hard to ignore when people are cussing you every single second. But time is a great healer, and people forget, and then you can move on. So I think don't get too down when something goes wrong. Just remember that things happen. And so very practically, I'll play football, I'll do boxing, I'll literally escape from what I'm trying to do just to get my mind from it. And then like you can carry on with the mission. The final point of this is that when I was really young, my mum actually told me she went to a tarot reader. I don't know, have any of you done the tarot reader thing? Okay, so my mum did that. Well, she said she did it. And she said, like, she told her that your son is going to be president in the future. So she never had a son yet. And actually, technically, I can't be president because there's no president in the UK. And I'm a British citizen, so I can't be president of the Philippines. But even as a young kid, that belief made me think I can actually achieve something. So don't only think about yourself, think about the people you're speaking to. Like, what are you telling them they can be? What are you telling your little cousin who's 5 years old? Are you going to go to Harvard? Are you going to Oxford? Are you going to be creating this £300,000 worth company? It's that kind of stuff as well, like giving to others and then you'll receive.
Thanks, Alvin. Okay, so we've got a couple of practical tips there. Now we're going to go a little bit more meta, right? So confidence is about value. So confidence is valuable, and it's about valuing yourself. So I want to hear, I guess semi-practical, I want to hear how you guys manage to stick to your worth, stick to the value that you put on your work, when maybe others want to adjust the value and reduce your rates or reduce, what they're going to pay you for your book, how much they want to pay for their manicure, how much they want for the trim or the percentage they want of your company, which is, what was it valued at? 2 million? 2 million at 25, that's impressive, right? But some people will laugh at that. They'll say, oh, how's it worth 2 million? That's not true. I want 50% for $6,000. What do you do in those situations to stick to the value that you've attributed to yourself and to your work?
Cool. For me, it's all about what I wanted to achieve. So the way I perceive life, or the way I look at life, is I try my best to work my way backwards. So I've got this goal in my head that I want to sell Trim-It for 140 million. And there's various reasons, from wanting to nice my mum to wanting to have a house in this place and to being able to give back to Ghana. That's where I'm from. But so when I've valued my business and now reversed engineered where I want to be, when I was going to investors, with the mindset that if I value it at this point, in 5 years I'm going to have to value it at X. And as a result, I had to really stay true to what my dreams are. When you are an entrepreneur and when you are kind of taking your destiny by your horns, I'm the one that writes the rules. So as a result, I can also dictate the price, and that's the way I perceived it. So when I have people that are trying to devalue the business, it's very easy for me to just say no and give you reasons as to why I'm giving you a clear-cut no. So yeah.
Thanks, Darren.
For me, when I first started doing nails, I always worked in places like Harvey Nichols and Selfridges doing nails. And basically, they would charge £150 for a manicure and pedicure. People wouldn't really pay that now, but that's what they were paying. And I remember I had a client, I went to her house to do her nails, and she paid me £30. Now, at the time, I was 18 years old and I was young, and straight away I thought, oh my God, like, she just paid me £30. And that one experience changed me. And then I learned that you always have to charge for what you're worth. Don't undercharge yourself. That's what a lot of people do. And also, it's just knowing your worth and knowing how good the quality is of your product or service. So basically, you have to work that out, because people don't care. They'll just take your money and they'll just use you. So you have to know what you're worth.
Thanks. Very true.
That was good. That was good. I remember a family friend of mine calling me for an event. And I was like, okay, cool. When's this event? She was like, yeah, it's this day. I was like, okay, cool. It's this amount. And she said to me, so you're not a big boy. But everyone is doing what you're doing. She basically said to me that anyone can do what I do. Yeah, and I was a bit upset. Yeah, because this is a family friend of mine. Do you know what I mean? We've grown up together, and I would have thought she would see value in my work. So do you know what I mean? So we came off the phone and whatnot. I was just like, boy, decide what you want to do in it. So we came off the phone, and I sat down and I thought, right, like, maybe I'm charging a lot. Do you know what I mean? Maybe this is maybe I am doing too much. And then I spoke to a friend, and my friend basically said to me that, look, yeah, you have to, if you don't have value in your work, then nothing's sustainable. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to work at the end of the day. And that really hit me. And yeah, you just have to at the end of the day, we all like things that are good. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to give someone something that's bad unless that person's your enemy, and still then, why are you giving someone? Do you know what I mean? So if you want good, you have to give good, and that's the way I see it.
Thanks, Tolu. More clapping.
I'll be quick because they want to go to Q&A now. But just a quick thing. It's like, for me, because I've been in the charity sector most of my life, like, basically I'm broke. Do you know what I mean? Like, it depends really what industry you're in. And also depends what you value. So, of course, I totally respect that people become millionaires because they're serving a whole bunch of customers, whether it be businesses like BYP are doing, and the people who want jobs, and, you know, that kind of stuff. But also, you got to think about what is it you value. There's a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. He's got all these like videos. He says he values appreciation and affirmation of the good that he's trying to do. Can you really measure that in money? I'm not so sure. But it really just depends. Like, you might be totally different. So I think there's a question there about what you value. And I think, like, finally, it really depends on what level you're at. Because the way when you're kind of young, or depending on what industry you're in, you've got to kind of like make a lot of sacrifices. Sometimes you'll do something for free because you're like, I need to practice either a speech or like a bit of comedy, or I want to do a different style of haircut, and I'm not going to charge them just in case like I mess up the style. Like, sometimes it depends on what level you're at, because then you build your portfolio, you build your client lists, and then you can charge the big bucks. And one final thing is, like, if a bank is asking for money for something, ask for money. If they're not paying you, the bank is worth like millions. But if it's a charity that's trying to do some good and you know they don't have money, maybe figure out, can you spend that 1 hour to help out on that little bit? So it really depends on context and what you value.
Yeah, really good tips. Thanks. So now it's over to you guys. We're going to have some Q&A from the floor. We've got about 5 minutes for questions, so hands up. Yes, over at the front.
So far today, you guys have been our youngest panelists, and I just want to know if you face any obstacles from your social groups and friends, because obviously you're quite high achievers for your age group. Do you find it difficult to keep going if the rest is not keeping up? And is it hard to maybe leave behind people that have not been supportive or influencing your path in the right direction? I'm a mum, so I need to know for the next generation.
It's a great question.
Luckily, I've had a lot of friends that are supportive. So they've been like they've been on the journey with me, which has been nice. And those that haven't been supportive, I've just let them go along the way. That's what I do. If you're not supporting me, if you're not happy for me, it's not genuine, then there's no point in us like having a relationship, because you're never gonna want the best for me. So that's how I deal with it.
So for me, it's slightly different. So I have friends that have been super supportive for towards my journey, but then I have friends that kind of just don't care. And those are actually the people that I kind of go back to, because I'm consumed by Trim It. When I wake up, I think of Trim It. When I go to bed, I think about Trim It. So I go back to those guys, and I can talk about ball and talk about girls and just talk about, I don't know, life. So for me, it's a balancing act, and I try my best actually to make sure that I do separate the two as well. So I don't want actually everyone in my life to be completely focused about kind of what I'm doing, because I'm still a normal human being at the end of the day.
Yeah, for me, it's like who you surround yourself with, like, just pushes you forward in life, really and truly. I remember back in the day, I had someone that was managing me, and it just wasn't working out, and it was really hard because we were really close friends. But and for me to cut him off was kind of like it felt bad, but I just knew it was the right thing to do. I knew it would propel me forward, and it did at the end of the day. So it's hard to do, but it's very important that you surround yourself with the right people in order for you to move forward.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that's been said, and I think also I don't feel like we should judge our friends just because they don't want to be this superstar or succeed, and like actually having a 9-to-5 job, providing for your family, that's as respectful, I think, as trying to change the world, because you're providing for the people that matter to you most. So I feel you definitely surround yourself by people who are your mentors, who are your heroes, your idols, people who've done it before, but then also don't leave the ones who were the people that were with you from the beginning. Because for me, that's kind of like turning your back on your own. But anyway, it depends on who they are, because they might be like some idiot who you shouldn't actually spend any time with because they're going to get you in trouble. Yeah.
Okay, I think we've got time for about 2 more questions. Can we push to 3? It's going to be definitely 2. I'm seeing some big no's at the back. So if you've got a burning question, raise your hand up high. Okay, yeah, at the front.
Hi, my name's Alexander Akambile. I study economics at Leeds. And my question for all of you is, because you're all in the business/creative industries, there's a lot of time where knockbacks are felt differently than if they're felt if you have a job. For example, if you was to go out for promotion and you didn't get it, you still have a job. However, if you don't book any gigs or anything, then you don't have the income for the month and stuff like that. So what kind of keeps you consistently going and keep trying and saying, why don't I just try something else? Why don't I go try a different industry? Why do I not look for something a bit more solid? Where do you get that drive from?
What keeps me going personally is just my love for my field, for what I do, and I feel like that's very, very important. Once you lose sight of that, or once you fall out of love with what you do, then for me, just stop doing it. At the end of the day, it's very important that you love what you do.
For me, it's just keep going. Don't stop. Just keep going. That's my best advice, is just to literally keep going, because something will come out of it. If you put in 100%, you'll definitely get something back. So never, ever give up. Just keep going.
Cool. I'm not here to give anybody advice, just because my context is my context, but I'll tell you what keeps me going. At the end of the month, there's this thing called payroll.
Yep.
And that thing is very, very scary. So what keeps me going and what keeps the hustle is the fact that I've got like 12 people that I need to be responsible for. And now it's not about my journey, but it's also about the responsibility of others. So that's what keeps me going.
Feel that one. Okay, final question. Yes, please stand up.
Hi, I'm Simon, I'm 17, I'm a gap year student. We've heard a lot about not giving up and staying resilient. At what point do you take a look and decide that maybe you're chasing the wrong direction? Do you need to reevaluate whatever you're doing?
It's a fantastic question.
Yeah, no, great question.
Maybe just one answer.
Hopefully if I'm here next year, I'm still doing the 4th group, but you never know. I feel that there's so many stories, typical stories about people who, you know, before they made it, they flopped. Like Jack Ma, who set up Alibaba, who got rejected by Harvard like 5 times, or Elon Musk, who failed with a bunch of companies and has now created all these big companies. I think the time to choose is realizing when the money's not coming in, you're like, damn, the market doesn't want it, people don't want this. And also you feel like you don't have any more energy or passion for it. Like if you're in the game and just trying and you don't really love it anymore, then that's probably the time to end it.
And this is time to end it. So can we have a round of applause for our panelists?